Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt so real, so vivid, only to have it completely slip away from you immediately? What if that dream was actually your subconscious whispering to you or giving you a message? We're going to talk about why we dream, what your dreams are trying to tell you, and how writing them down can actually open up a secret doorway into the deepest parts of your mind. The Healing Alchemist is a podcast for mindset mastery, personal growth, and healing. Hosted by Pudding Ibrahim, a science-informed, soul-aligned hypnotherapist, performance coach, and MEME practitioner. You'll gain honest insights and tools to live a beautiful, curious, and intentional life. You're in exactly the right place, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin. So first things first, why do we dream? Dreams are actually like little messages from your subconscious. They're basically helping you work through things that you might not have even realized are actually in your mind. So even when you sleep, your brain isn't actually truly shut off. You may already be aware that you have lots of different stages of sleep. When we talk about trying to remember our dreams, the dreams that we're really talking about are the ones that we experience when we're going through REM sleep. During the non-REM stages of sleep, our dreams tend to be a little bit more fragmented, or they might be less structured images. So for the purpose of this discussion, we're really going to be referring to those more vivid and more memorable dreams that we dream during REM sleep. And that's really the prime time for those dreams that are more like stories. During this stage of sleep is when various parts of the brain are lighting up. So you have primarily your amygdala, which is where you process emotions, that kicks in. You have your hippocampus, which is where memories are stored, that kicks in. And then when you talk about why these dreams can be so vivid and story-like, it's because the prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain that's responsible for your logic, which is very active during the day, it quietly takes a back seat when you're dreaming at night. So it's like your brain becomes a theater director for the night and starts being able to create these wild abstract scenes from all the raw materials of your life, whatever is going on at that time that it can take context from. So in a way, your dreams, you can really think about them as a way that your mind is doing emotional housekeeping, but at night. So it's helping you process, release, rewire, and sometimes even rehearse for real life. So how long do dreams typically last? And this may be crazy to know, but dreams actually only last for a few minutes. Sometimes they can feel like they're really long and really detailed and that they last a really long time. But that's because when we're dreaming, our sense of time actually gets pretty distorted. It's almost like being in a movie where so many scenes and emotions can be packed into a short amount of time, but it does feel much longer and much more complex when we're trying to remember it. But in actual fact, it's only a few minutes. What's interesting to know is that we also dream every night. I had to remind myself of this because I actually haven't remembered my dreams in a really, really long time. And then I had that nightmare last week. And then I had a dream last night that both of them I could clearly see were related, but I felt like I hadn't had any other dreams for many, many nights for a really long time. And that's incorrect. We actually do, all of us dream every single night, even if we don't remember it. On average, people have multiple dream cycles every night, especially during their REM sleep and even during other stages, as we've talked about. But it's just that we often wake up without recalling them, so it can feel like we didn't dream at all. But rest assured, those dreams are definitely happening every night. Why are our dreams so weird and symbolic and sometimes so vivid and sometimes really, really bizarre with really weird things happening in them? It's important to remember that when we're awake, our brains are very linear and logical in the way that they're processing things that are happening in our daily lives. But when we're asleep, and particularly when we're in REM sleep, your brain's activity shifts. And so those different areas of the brain that we talked about, the amygdala, which is where we process emotions, the hippocampus, which is involved in memory, they become more active, while the prefrontal cortex, which we use in daily life to have logic, becomes way less active. And so this combination ends up being able to create these really abstract, symbolic ways of processing information that makes our dreams really vivid and symbolic rather than just straightforward replays of our day. In a way, it's kind of like our brain's creative way of connecting all the dots and making sense of our experience. And because that logical part of your brain is offline when we're in that REM state of dreaming, instead of using words or structured thoughts, your mind can actually start communicating in symbols and in pictures and emotions and metaphor. So it's not chaos. You can think about it like poetry. Dreams are your subconscious speaking in its native language, and that language is all about imagery. Now, there are some common symbols in dreams, and I'm not going to talk about all of them in this video, but some of the big ones that you might have felt before are being chased. So that could have multiple meanings that could resonate with what it is going on in your life right now. And it's important to understand that it has to relate to that situation. So being chased, the meaning of that could be avoidance or fear. You may be running from a responsibility or an emotion or a truth or something that you're not ready to face. It could also be that who or what is chasing you could give you clues about what feels threatening. Like last night in my dream, there was a porcupine and that was chasing me. And I won't go too much into it because it's quite private, but there was a porcupine chasing me and I figured out what that meant. Maybe the dream is asking you, what is it that you are running away from in waking life? Interesting. Another common theme in dreams is flying. And actually, that was also in my dream last night too. So flying can have multiple meanings. It could mean freedom. It could mean perspective. It could mean ambition. If you are flying with ease, for instance, it can mean a sense of empowerment, a sense of perspective, a sense of freedom from your limits. If you are struggling to fly, it could mean that you have insecurity about goals or a fear of failure. Here's a frustrating truth though. You do dream every night. We all do multiple times. But unless we wake up during or right after a dream, we tend to forget. Now, why is this happening? It's because the brain chemicals that help you store memories while you're awake aren't as active when you're in REM sleep. So it's almost like trying to carry water with your hands. Unless you grab it quickly, it's going to slip right through your fingers. So the reason that we don't remember our dreams is that the process of transferring those short-term memories formed during dreams into long-term storage is kind of tricky when we're sleeping. So unless we are waking up during or immediately after a dream, those dream memories tend to fade really quickly. Also, the brain chemicals that are active during REM sleep aren't the same ones that help with memory reconsolidation when we are awake. So our dreams can slip away super duper fast. However, we're going to talk about in a minute how you can improve that by keeping a dream journal. People who can train themselves to remember dreams by using practices like dream journaling are basically just training their brains to hold on to those dream memories just a little bit longer so that it can make it easier to recall them. Now, if you're liking this so far, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that I know to make more videos just like this. And thank you so much. So now let's go into how we can hang on to these dreams a little bit longer. And that is by dream journaling. Dream journaling is exactly what it sounds like. Essentially, you are going to write down your dreams, even if they are fragments of dreams, because once you start getting into the practice of this, it's going to help you improve your dream recall. And also, more than that, you're going to be able to start noticing patterns, symbols, maybe recurring themes in your dreams. It's almost like having a conversation with your subconscious and uncovering those insights about yourself. And that could be to track your emotional healing over time. It could be to gently bring about an awareness to something that's unresolved, something that's under the surface. Now, how can you start doing dream journaling? The idea is that essentially you would keep a journal by your bed, and it could be that you wake up in the middle of the night from a dream and just have that handy so that you can write down your dream as soon as you wake up, whenever that is. And basically, again, what you're doing is you're training your brain to pay more attention to them. And over time, as you practice this, and again, you can write it in fragments. It doesn't matter if you remember the whole dream, but you're basically helping to strengthen those neural pathways in your brain that are associated with dream recall. And the more you do this, the more it'll be easier to remember your dreams in greater detail because you're exercising that muscle. It's kind of like telling your brain, hey, it's important for me to remember my dreams. So let's do that and let's do more of it. And the more consistently you do it, the better your recall of those dreams are going to get. Now let's throw something in here about lucid dreaming. This is where dreaming gets a lot more magical. Lucid dreaming is essentially when you become aware that you're dreaming while you're in the dream, which is pretty wild. And the reason why that can also be really wild is if you can train this, you can actually start to influence what happens next in the dream. So there is scientific evidence supporting lucid dreaming. And some of the techniques that people can use if you're interested is reality checks during the day. So this is a really good one where people practice poking their hand or pinching their hand during the day so that they can actually start to do that in dreams to notice that they're in a dream. And there's all sorts of cool things that you can do with this. But why would somebody want to do this? Again, because lucid dreaming can help you confront fears that are being presented in those dreams without real world risk. It can also help you tap into creative insights. It can also help you rehearse for real life challenges. There's all sorts of things. So it's not fully fantasy. There is some science behind it. And it's a beautiful way to reconnect with your subconscious on purpose. So quickly going back to a couple of those other methods of recording your dreams. So we talked about dream journaling and actually writing them down in a journal that's right by your bed whenever it is that you wake up from a dream, even if it's in the middle of the night, and even if you're only recording fragments of it, right? You're training your brain. Now, for some of you who might not be into writing, especially if it's in the middle of the night, you might have your phone next to you and just take a quick voice note of what those fragments of those dreams were or dictate those dreams. Something that I really like doing that's been really useful for me is I like to use AI. So my preferred AI for this sort of thing is ChatGPT. And a way that I could suggest that you could use this would be to also create a voice note, start a new chat, and create a voice note by just dictating what the dream was. I find that for me, this is actually more effective and it's faster to do because I can just talk through the dream really quickly and record it. And then I go one step further by asking ChatGPT to give me an analysis of that dream based on what I'm currently going through in my life right now. So what that will require is I'll have a little chat to ChatGPT, and you can of course type this out, but I like to do it with voice because it's so much faster. And I will basically remind ChatGPT of what is essentially going on in my life right now. What are the things that I feel like I'm struggling with, or if something particular has come up, or there's a decision to be made, to give it some context of my situation. And then I will ask it to use my situation that I've just described to interpret the elements of the dream that I just described. And you'll find so much insight in that, just like I have. Sometimes getting that perspective, even if it's an AI perspective, which really is a much more efficient way than trying to Google through all of those different symbolisms and then try and piece them together. I feel like AI does it in much more of an intuitive, integrative fashion, especially when you're able to tell it what you're going on in life right now. It's really eye-opening, and AI can offer some really fun and insightful interpretations for you to consider. So think of it like holding up a mirror to your subconscious in that sense, really to just spark a deeper understanding of what's going on in your life and to get some perspectives from there. So wrapping up, here are some final thoughts of what we've done. We've talked through dreams and how they're related to your subconscious. We've talked through how you have them all the time and actually you have it in your power to recall them more, whether that's through writing it down in a journal, whether it's through leaving voice notes, whether it's to then go one step ahead and interpret those dreams so you can get a better understanding of what's going on in yourself, in your subconscious. But more than that, use the wisdom of your subconscious to be able to maybe make a more informed decision with what you're going through in life. There's so many different ways and nuances to use this. So I ask you, just get curious. Your dreams are the voice of your subconscious, and they could have deep and profound meaning for what's going on in your life. if you choose to listen to whatever insight is there. So I would love to hear from you. What's a symbol that's come up in your dream recently that by using a couple of tools that you've learned here today, you've been able to get more perspective of? I'd love to know if you share down in the comments below. And once again, if you enjoyed this video and thought it was helpful, please hit the subscribe button so I can continue making videos just like this. And let me know in the comments if there's something in particular that you want to find out more about, whether that's with regards to your subconscious mind or dreams. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you really soon in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you got value and insight from today's episode, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Be an amazing friend and share this with someone who could use it right now. And remember, you are worthy of a great life. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you at the next episode.